With that, Ms. Mohan, you may begin your interviewing process for District 42A.
Sure. Hi, Gio. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Good evening, Jody. Miss Jody, how
Yeah,
are you doing?
I am doing great. So you and I have talked before as part of you being
Hmm.
a member of the Young Dems, of which I'm a big fan. So being part of the Young Dems already and being politically active in the Young Dems, why did you want to join the Central Committee? Um, in addition or in order to supplement, what interest led you to want to join the Central Committee?
I suppose my main interest is trying to find a place where I can learn more and be a part of the change that our nation needs, that our country needs, that our state, our county, um, from the ground floor up. Because a lot of my life, I always thought it was, oh, federal this, president this. But the last few years, I've really gotten in touch in learning of our local representation, how much impact they directly have on our lives. I want to do my part to represent the people of our county, of our state, as best as I possibly can, and to bring awareness and grow this community, especially in a time when more and more we need to share love, we need to share compassion and unity in this nation. And I feel that following the route of doing the central committee, I can learn a lot and grow in that experience and grow into a more confident and competent young politician in this country.
Okay, very good. Now, we have read your letter of interest and we have read your resume, but just for the audience that are listening, could you run down your um, activities, political activities that you have
Hmm.
participated in as a volunteer candidate?
Hmm. Absolutely. So I have a pretty recent um, interest in access to the field here. I've only really been involved for about 6, 7 months now. And in that time of getting involvement through the Young Dems of Baltimore County, I got exposed to other campaigns and other individuals and getting to talk to people such as Nick Stewart, who is running for county executive. I have worked very closely with his campaign over the last few months and gotten a more intimate personal understanding and value for um, what we're doing in this community here. I have been trying to do more outreach into other Baltimore County groups and Maryland groups of legislation and representatives, but as I meet people, I gain more access, you know?
And are you
Um,
currently a member of any political club?
aside from Young Dems of Baltimore, no, I am not.
Okay. Well, have you ever had experience with door-to-door canvassing, phone banking, voter registration, get out the vote, helping voters get to the polls, or with electioneering?
Just recently, I had my first experience with canvassing, and it was a very rewarding experience that I got to have. Doing that for Nick Stewart for county executive, meeting people throughout the Catonsville region of Baltimore County, and getting to intimately talk extensively with some households and learning the values and what they're looking for. It is an incredibly empowering position and opportunity to have. And just talking to their team this morning, they are um, more opportunities are coming about as well to do more projects like that.
Well, I have no doubt that over
Mhm.
the next year you will be fully exposed to phone banking and voter registration, the GOTV activities, and all the others. Um, what skills?
I'm so excited. Yes.
That's fantastic. That's good to hear. Um, what skills, experience, or background do you think you can bring to the Baltimore County Democratic Party that you think we might be lacking?
I don't necessarily think there is anything that the members Democratic Party are lacking. I do have to offer my own perspective and my own personal experiences and back as a first generation American to saying what life is like in a primarily red district of our county, where I live in the North County by the Pennsylvania-Maryland line, and it is a very red district. And growing up there and coming through and learning the differences and the balance of that is a very intimate and important part of my development in life. Um, I found to be very fascinating, especially as I come into my own more experience with the Democratic Party and coming into what is actually happening. I believe that I have an interesting perspective. Also, through my current schooling, where I'm in school for horticulture and sustainable environmental engineering and science, gives me a perspective of something that I do definitely think is lacking in our democratic field here, where there is not a lot of representation for the environmental side of things, which is a big priority of my life, where I have my own business that I've done and started up 3 years ago and I've been doing ever since. Terrapin Tree Huggers, we're a sustainable landscaping company, and we're about for fixing waterways and stormwater management, land restoration, soil health recuperation, and just better planting practices around the county and between Maryland and Pennsylvania. Um,
Well, we should
I
definitely.
think that perspective of sustainability, mentalism is really important.
Well, we should definitely introduce you to members of the Sierra Club and Women's League of Conservation uh, that are in Baltimore County because they are very enthusiastic supporters of the exact work that you are doing. Um, and of course, it's
Mhm.
very important to the North County. The work that you're doing is very important. It's a crucial part of land preservation in the North County. Um, so yeah, that's good to hear.
Especially when we have such a big agricultural blue collar base up here. It
Absolutely.
is very important. Yeah.
This might be
Mhm.
jumping the gun a bit, but what are your plans for 2026? Do you plan to run for re-election to the Democratic State Central Committee? So as you know,
I suppose that would be in the, oh, yeah, continue. Sorry.
the term runs until 2026, and then we have new elections. So Central Committee members traditionally are elected during the general elections. So would you want to throw your hat into the ring for the elections in 2026?
I suppose I would want to carry on, definitely, get more involved, meet more people, and continue in this position as finding more opportunities come about. Um, I do hope to continue down this chain and get eventually to do congressional work and legislative work one day, but that's a few years away. That's a good chunk of time away.
Yeah. Yep, but you'll find your
And until then, I want to do what I can. Mhm.
Um, this is housekeeping stuff. We hold our meetings on the third Tuesday of every month at 7 p.m. And as members of the State Democratic Central Committee, we are expected to attend two meetings per year, one in the summer and one in the winter. And in different parts of the state. Are there time commitments or conflicts of interest that would prevent you from attending these meetings or otherwise fully participating as a member of the Central Committee?
I should be able to fully participate my time and be there for these events.
Wonderful. Okay. Have you ever volunteered as a worker at a fair, festival, convention booth, or participated in a parade in the past decade?
Yes, I have.
Which one have you participated in?
I participated in I forget what it was called, but it was a booth at it was my first protest I visited in 2019 for standing in a booth and giving water out to protesters that were walking past the
Oh,
first
excellent.
volunteer experience
Yeah. So as you know, the
and
Central
whatnot.
Committee has a subcommittee called Affairs and Festivals Subcommittee, where we staff tables um,
Mhm,
at community events, make people aware of the activities that the
mhm.
Democratic Party does in their area. Would you be willing to take part in the fairs and festivals activities, volunteer to set up, break down, and otherwise staff these tables?
Mhm. That sounds like a great experience. Absolutely.
All right.
I visited the Baltimore County Dems table at the Maryland a couple months ago and talked to them for a good amount of time. They seemed like a really nice crowd. And they were surrounded by a bunch of other people I've met through they were right by the USDA stand and a few other organizations that I have some association with. So I enjoyed my time over there.
Excellent. Yeah, we are a very nice crowd. Um, okay.
Mhm.
What do you believe are the most important principles of the Democratic Party?
The most important principles of the Democratic Party. That is a great question. That is a very good question.
Now, this could be what you think.
Uh, can I ask you that question actually? Very curious
Well, I'm an
what you would
academic, so
say
I'm going to
about that.
quibble at you. And I'm going to say there are two ways of answering this.
Mm-hmm.
Could say what
Mm-hmm.
realistically are the principles of the Democratic Party and what idealistically are the principles of the Democratic Party.
Mm-hmm.
What they ought to be versus what they may be. And the two don't necessarily have to be the same,
Mm-hmm.
right? So what do
Mm-hmm.
you, when you think of the Democratic Party today, what do you believe the party stands for?
I believe looking at this current day with events that have happened in a few years and as these groups have changed a lot, even in my own lifetime, witnessing how they've changed. Um, I feel that the Democratic Party very much holds a high quality to social programs that enable households and families to be better off and be able to hold themselves up, especially as we live in a time where there's ever growing inflation, there's an ever growing housing challenges and food costs that goes into these social programs and different experiences such as that on. I feel he's definitely going further and further into trying to secure these positions. Right now, when we have been going through this, will they, won't they, whether it comes to the SNAP benefits and other programs that are at risk right now, it seems very concerning, but I feel that the Democrats hold more of those qualities of trying to protect those programs and make sure they hold on true. I feel that that is, at least in my perspective, some of the more important values of the Democratic Party.
Now, having said that, do you believe there is any room
Mhm.
for equivocation, if there's any wiggle room in how the aims of the Democratic Party and how the principles of the Democratic Party may be carried out?
I think that describe equivocation. That's a intense word.
So I'm interpreting this to mean
Mhm.
um, that yes, for instance, one of the things that let's take the example of SNAP benefits right now. The SNAP benefits
Mhm.
they have been cut off. I don't like to use the word run
Mhm.
because they have not run out.
Mhm.
We
No.
pretty much have the money. They have been cut off.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
so can we use other methods that we are not using? And these methods may not be necessarily the most upstanding methods to get the SNAP benefits back. And what would you think of
Mhm.
something like that? An example of this is Proposition 50 in California. You know, there are a lot of Democrats who are talking about fighting fire with fire. Um,
Mhm.
if Texas is going to gerrymander to get 5 new seats, then California is going to gerrymander to, get 5 more seats. And
Mhm.
so the Democrats, for a very long time, have been standing on their principles and saying that just because you behave in a certain way, we will not. And
Mhm.
I think a lot of the people who support the Democratic Party are frustrated because it hasn't it hasn't been a rewarding experience to be morally and ethically right.
Mhm.
And so that's why I think that hence the question. Keeping in mind, of course, that once you set out on that slippery path, then again, you do not have the moral high ground. So
Personally,
he says, she says.
personally coming from more of a activist background in terms of my political experience, I definitely do see we live in a time where the polarization and the differences that they keep pushing is really going to hurt a lot of people more and more. And it's just one group reacting to another group. As one gets more aggressive, the other is going to get more aggressive. And you're very truthful in your point of saying the Democrats have been very standoffish on being as abrasive as we've seen the Republicans be in the last few years, or as extreme and fast in the decision making that they're doing. I think we live in a time where we need a new balance. We need proactive, we need progressive individuals in both parties and that are looking forward to the not just here and now, but where America is going to be 15 years from now, how
Mm,
we're all going to be standing. I hear conversations coming back to social benefits and whatnot, where when I grow up, there is no guarantee that Social Security and other programs like that will exist or even be in place due to mismanagement of these programs. And it seems like no one is making the step to do anything about it. It's really hard to grow up in this society and see all these older people that you're told to respect and told to look at with this high value, but they're not doing anything for the younger generation. They're not doing anything for the families that are about to begin, the kids who are getting out of college, the people who are trying to start their lives. It's is really discouraging when I have people I meet on a daily basis who go towards anarchy or unaffiliation over a political identity because they don't think that these parties can serve them. And it's really hard right now. And I feel that we need a change. We need growth. We need love back in our government, back in our democracy. And through that, you will get engagement back with the younger population. You will get engagement back to the people who have sworn it off.
So I'm going to assume that a large part of what you just said is the answer to the next question that I was going to ask you, which is, as we move into a gubernatorial election year, what do you see as the
Mhm,
greatest challenges facing the Democratic Party in Maryland, or in fact, even in Baltimore County? And how
mhm.
would you help address those challenges as a member of the Central Committee? So, am I to understand that one of the things that you see as being problematic is this disconnect between different
Mhm.
generations of people?
The generalization that has gone through people in politics or the police and military and all these things. And these are our citizens. These are the people who are supposed to be helping us. These are the people who are supposed to be leading us. And there is this instability. There's this disconnect that people are having so extensively. I feel that the biggest problem coming into this next year, this next electoral year is getting people to care, getting their outreach. So many people feel like they're not heard. So many people feel like their vote it doesn't mean anything. We need to remind them that it does have an impact. Your voice has an impact. Getting people on those streets protesting, getting people to go to conventions, getting people to go to give to charity. All these things are, it might be little, one person impact, but one person can go very far. And if everybody is doing that, we can get through this. We can grow as a society. We can move forward.
Or,
So that's what we need. We need that outreach. We need that connection back to the daily man, to the daily person.
well, I'm glad you have so much optimism because some of us are getting frustrated. Um,
Hmm.
so,
It's fair.
um, now I'm going to give you a couple of sample scenarios.
Hmm.
Um, and just to see how you might react in these scenarios.
Hmm.
And to be honest, as Central Committee members, we oftentimes face scenarios like this. So it's
Hmm.
important to anticipate and know how you represent the party.
Hmm.
The first scenario is you're engaging the public while working at the party booth at the fair, say, for example, the state fair. Suddenly,
Hmm.
you find yourself confronted with an extremely hostile visitor who not only states he will not vote for your candidate, but also refuses to leave. And through his actions and tones, begins to prevent other members of the public from approaching your booth. How would you handle this situation?
This is a tough one because this does sound like this person is approaching with hostility and a toxic outlook, where if he is putting a danger to our people and to our booth, then that is a reason to get security involved if that is how it's going. But if he is being civil and is just being an entity that refuses to leave, then there is a purpose to say, pull up a seat. We'll have a debate. We'll have a conversation. You don't have whether or not they hear you out, that could just de-escalate. That could just bring them down.
Okay. So
Mhm.
you're not saying that you'd go out there and say, come at me, big man. You're saying, okay, you'd go get security if you needed to, um,
Yeah.
because that's their job. But otherwise,
Hmm.
you would be happy to have a conversation if that's what the person
No,
wanted, dialogue. Okay.
absolutely. If he is encouraging dialogue, even if it is in a negative sense, de-escalation is the most important part. If he is going to be harming either emotionally, psychologically, or vocally to the people in my group or the people coming past him, then we need to settle him down.
All
That
right.
doesn't mean getting into a fist fight. That doesn't mean getting into an argument. No.
Perfect. All right. Scenario two. This might be a little harder on a
Okay.
personal level. If you discovered that an elected official or someone seeking elected office with whom you are closely acquainted was about to violate the law through their actions or had already violated an election or other law, what, if any, steps would you take to address this matter?
Personally being un uninformed and uneducated in how that process goes down, that is I don't know the exact approach. I think the best guidance would be to get legal advice on the situation, as whether or not there is a conflict that emerges from that. But legal advice and making sure that you are good and that you're not, this person isn't going to expand the problem, uh, that's ideal. But definitely worth reporting that type of culture and that type of action.
So you would be willing to jeopardize your relationship with such a person in order to say, be honest.
You need, and that's a really tough question. You need to have honesty. You need to be real, especially if you're a representative. And that is something that just I cannot personally stand thinking the idea of, oh, this person is even a congressman, even a sheriff who is corrupt or is doing something that's against their voter base or against their people. That's not all right. It doesn't matter if you're Democrat, it doesn't matter if you're Republican. Like, you can't be doing that.
So you would hold them to the standards of their office rather than
Hmm.
say, oh, you're my friend, I will overlook that.
Hmm. Yes.
Okay, that sounds good. All right. Well, those are the scenarios I had for you. And I think we've been chatting for quite a while now. So, is there anything else you would like to convey to the committee, to anybody who is watching on Zoom? This is your last kind of pitch, if so to speak, if you'd like to do like a closing statement of some kind or anything like that.
Okay. Um, I guess what I want to say is I appreciate you all for giving me the opportunity to talk with you all today and to have this dialogue. I hope to have as much of an impact and be a part of this process for many years to come. And if anyone would like to reach me, my name's right here. You can contact me on any sort of social media. I'm on Facebook, Instagram. You can find me that way. I'm open to conversation. I'm open to it all. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you for taking the time out to come and meet with us and interview with us, Gio.
Thank you so much. Of course.
Dr. Wood?
Thank you, Mr. Cavallo. Very nice to have you here with us. We appreciate you being able to spend a few moments with us, gave us quite a bit of information and insightfulness into your personality, your thoughts, your beliefs and values. So thank you for participating. I would now like to give Ms. Mohan the opportunity, if she needs it, to take a few moments, review her notes, just step away for a moment, and
Hmm.
then she can do that. And if she doesn't need to do that, she can provide us with a direct response of what her thoughts are and make a proposal that would be taken back to the Central Committee, at which time is scheduled for November the 18th.
Mhm.
And if we are to move this forward, she would present you at that meeting, and we would then have a central committee vote on whether or not to accept your application and move it forward to bring you on board as a central committee member. We, if that is the case, then we would be doing a swearing in ceremony in person at 25 Stevenson Lane, Woodbrook Church Baptist Church, which is where we hold our meetings. And that would be on that date at within the 7 o'clock time frame of that meeting. So you would have to be prepared to come to the meeting and stay for the full meeting because we don't have an exact time for that component of our meeting. So with that being said, Ms. Mohan, do you want to share with us what your thoughts are?
He's a shoe-in. I mean, that I mean, well, we've spoken before, Gio and I,
Mhm.
and he's a very promising young man, and he's got so much enthusiasm, and the best part of it is the optimism that he has, which is something that sometimes a person like me, middle-aged and a little, rough around the edges, and kind of like, I don't like this, and a little crusty can always do with that optimism and that, yay, there's still a chance. Come on, let's keep going. So I like that spirit. And so I think that's going to be very valuable to us. The fact that Gio again grew up in this district and knows our district really well is a huge, huge strength for him and for the Central Committee, frankly, in this important election year where we're trying to flip a lot of red districts. Um, and so I'm looking forward to working with him as his partner in this district and also seeing how he grows in Central Committee.
So would you therefore like to
I would
make a
like to propose,
proposal?
I would like to move a motion to add or to elect Giovanni Carvalho to our Central Committee member for District 42A.
So you are submitting his name as your nominee for District 42A
Yeah.
to be voted upon and sworn in if accepted
Yes.
by the committee. Okay. Well, I accept your proposal. We will move forward from here. Mr. Giovanni, um, would love to see you in person on November the
Yes.
18th. We do have a special guest that evening. So just know that we do have times when we do different things, education and presentations, and have special speakers. So that's one of our nights where we'll have a special speaker.
It'll be an added bonus
Mhm.
for you.
Yeah. So
I'm
with that
excited.
being
Very excited.
okay, well, with that being said, I will see you on November the 18th at 7 o'clock p.m. at Woodbrook Baptist Church, 25 Stevenson Lane in Towson. That is our meeting
Mhm.
place, and we will see you there. Have a good
Perfect.
evening, all.
All right.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wood. Thank you so much, Ms. Mahan.
Congratulations, Gio. Congratulations. All right.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jody.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. Good night.
Good night. Appreciate you guys. Have a good night.
All right, thank you.